Hello there, MCT4Cers. This is day 61, our second day of modeling with polynomial equations, and the last new stuff of Unit 6. Last day we were working with generating our own models, and we're going to continue with that today. The 3-minute review, it says it's last days, but really this is just another question in a 2-day quest to be able to come up with some of our own models. And this one should be familiar, even though we haven't really done any like this one recently. So it asks you to grab a TI-83. I got mine right there. Let's fire it up. Uh, I've actually done some work on that, so who knows where it is on yours. Clear all that stuff off. The data in the table here, collected from Statistics Canada, show the relationship between age and percent of Manitoba males reporting having low self-esteem. So notice, out of the 20 to 24-year-olds in males in Manitoba, 9.9% of them say that they have low self-esteem. And it says provincial programs wish to target groups that have 10% of the population or higher reporting having low self-esteem. So this is some sort of health program that they want to say. Any groups that have lots of people who feel they have low self-esteem are going to get targeted for programs. The problem, we're going to come up with a model for this. So it says sketch the data, which is Scatterplot. Notice that the steps that I'm going to do are all in here. So please don't be afraid to stop the video, go through these steps, goof around with the calculators yourself, make mistakes, and then come back and see what I'm up to, okay? Sketch the data. So to do a scatter plot, remember it's stat, and then edit, and then enter the data. Now notice the percents all make sense. Those are going into list 2, but in list 1 I can't put ranges in the data. So what I'm doing is I'm doing the midpoint. So what's the midpoint of 12 to 14? It's 13. What's the midpoint of 15 to 19? It's 17, and so on. The one that's kind of weird here is this very last one that's older than 75, 11.4%. And basically what I did is I just followed the pattern. So this one was 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, and then I just kept following that pattern, and that's 80, even though there might be some people in this group that are much older than 80. We're using that as our percent. And we'll just sketch the data. Now how we sketch the data, second function, y equals, to set up the stat plot, right? We've done this a bunch of times. I'm going to turn that on. List 1 is the X list. List 2 is the Y list. Turn it on, scatter plot, that all looks good. And then I press zoom 9, and it'll set up the, now what's that? That's probably some old stuff that I typed in, but you should have a scatter plot that looks something like that. Yeah, I've got a question from yesterday's lesson still in there, so I'm going to delete that off. And there's my scatter plot. Good. Dandy. If I wanted to, I could copy that graph, but I'm going to wait to copy this graph. There's the scatter plot. Use the TI-83 to generate a cubic function. It's asked for a cubic function, so we're going to do that. Notice we've used the calculators to do regression on trig functions, on exponential functions. I think we've already done maybe 1 or 2 polynomial functions as well, so this shouldn't be a big mystery. And we're right in here as far as the steps listed. So I'm going to go stat over to calc, and I'm going to do cubic regression. Cubic regression, and on list 1 and list 2, if I would have pressed enter, it would have known that I wanted list 1 and list 2, but what I want it to do is I wanted to dump the answer into y1 so that I don't have to type out this awful equation that we're going to see. Function, and the steps are all there. Steps are all there. Okay, right there is how to get the y1 character. And this command's waiting to be run, so I'm going to press enter. It'll take a little while, and bam, there's the answer. So here I'm going to write this answer. Actually, I'm going to copy it because it's hard for me to go back and forth. and then I'm going to tell you what that means. Okay, what this means. Well, A is the leading coefficient is 1.53, and notice the E -4. It means that A is actually 1.53 times 10 to the -4, very small number, x cubed, plus B is -0.017-ish, x squared, and so on. 0.36x, C is that value, and finally plus 9.96 is D. And that's my function. I'm going to call that f at x. Okay, whoops, not y, you're f at x. And then we want to use the TI-83 to solve when this function is equal to 10. And remember, this function here, this f at x function, this was a model that the calculator generated to show for a bunch of ages what percent of the population was had a low self-esteem. So we want to know when that's equal to 10. Well, we know how to do this. This side we're going to put in to y1, or already have, and this side we'll put in y2 is 10. So when I press y equals, there's that big, long, crappy cubic equation. I'm going to put into y2 10, and then 10, 10. And when I press graph, there's my cubic function. And I can see it fits the data pretty well. And there's the 10% low self-esteem. So the question is, now, how do I solve this? I want to know that point and that point, don't I? So I'm going to do that. Use the calculator, find the intersection of the model that was generated by the regression function and the line that represents 10%. And the guess is here. All right, now I'm going to copy this bad boy. And you can draw a sketch of this yourself, please and thank you. That tells me this point. Now I want to find that point as well, this one right here. So I'm going to go back to my calculator. Second calc to get the intersect menu. Second curve. Now I got to go way. I don't know what that was all about. Go way over here. Press enter. Should give me that other one. 77.8. So that value right there is 77.8 and 10. So what does this mean? This means for those are the two values. X equals 30.2, and notice it looks like it's going to cross over there, but that's okay. X equals 77.8. So the question is, what ages should the government target these populations? Well, notice for anybody less than 30 years old, they have a higher percent low self-esteem, and anybody over 77, they should target less than 30 years old and older than 78 years old. Those are the ones, according to the model, that show low self-esteem. Notice, this is the type of question 3 that that we saw yesterday, of the types of questions where we're given the model, when we're given information to generate the model, when we're given data. This is the one where we're given data and we use regression to come up with the model. This is the third type of question, and this is about half of the lesson here. Okay, there's a lesson. we use the TI-83 or other technology to generate polynomial models when we're given a table of data. Check. TI-83, we've done this. We can also generate our own models using algebra. We did this yesterday, but I have one more example that I'm going to pick up in part 2.